The moment I refused to sell my shop to bail out my brother's crumbling dream, my family circled like vultures and called a vote to cut me out. Smug grins spread. Majority rules. My sister stayed silent, eyes burning into me. So I grinned back, slid a single sheet of paper across the table and said, "Then let's vote on this instead." 5 seconds later, the room exploded. I'm Jack, 34, and I run a small hardware store in a dusty corner of Ohio. It's not much, just shelves stacked with nails, paint cans, and tools, but it's mine. I built it from scratch 8 years ago, with every dime I had after Dad told me I'd never amount to anything. See, I've always been the guy who shows up, fixing Mom's leaky sink when it floods her kitchen, driving my sister Claire to work when her old Chevy dies, even hauling my cousins out of bar fights they started over nothing. Family's everything to me, or at least it was. My older brother Ethan, he's the golden boy. Since we were kids, he's been the star. Straight A's, college degree, Mom's teary pride at every step he took. Me? I was the quiet one, the reliable one, which somehow meant I didn't shine. The shop's my proof I'm not invisible. My hands built something real, something lasting. But last year, that all got ripped apart. Ethan's latest big idea, some tech startup peddling overpriced gadgets, crashed and burned, leaving him drowning in debt. I figured he'd charm his way out like always. Golden boys don't fall hard. Then the family came knocking, and it wasn't for a screwdriver. They wanted my shop, my whole damn life to bail him out. I thought I knew favoritism growing up in Ethan's shadow, but this was a whole new level. It hit me like a sledgehammer, and I'm still raw from it, still picking up the pieces of what I thought family meant. I used to think blood tied us together through anything. Loyalty, sacrifice, the works. Turns out I was dead wrong. Let me take you back to how it started, because the story's a mess of betrayal and grit. And it'll make you wonder what family's really worth when the ones you love turn on you without blinking. Ethan's tech startup went belly up about 6 months ago, and I wasn't surprised. He'd been hyping it for years. Some gizmo that'd revolutionize home security, he said. Investors ate it up until they didn't. Now he was stuck with a $75,000 hole. One evening he strolled into my shop just as I was locking up, that same easy grin plastered on his face like nothing was wrong. "Jack, my man," he started, leaning on the counter. "I need a favor. Just a quick $20,000 loan. Temporary. You know I'll pay you back once I get this mess sorted." I stared at him, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. My shop barely clears enough to keep the lights on, and he knows that. "No," I told him straight up. "Ethan, I'm not a bank. I've seen your plans. They don't pan out. I can't risk it." He shrugged, said he got it, and left without a fight. I almost felt bad. Almost. That night, Mom called. Her voice was shaky like she'd been crying. "Jack, Ethan's in real trouble. He's so stressed, and you're the only one who can help. Please think about it." Guilt twisted in my stomach. She's always had a blind spot for him, ever since he won that spelling bee in 3rd grade, and I got a pat on the head for not tripping over my shoelaces. But I held my ground. "Mom, I've got my own bills. He's got to figure this out himself." She sighed, heavy and disappointed, and hung up. I figured that'd be the end of it, but I underestimated how deep Ethan's hooks were in everyone. The next morning, I stopped by the diner for coffee. Same place I've gone since I opened the shop. Old man Pete, who's been fixing tractors longer than I've been alive, waved me over. "Heard you're sitting pretty while Ethan's struggling," he said, eyebrows raised. I froze, cup halfway to my mouth. "What are you talking about?" Pete leaned in, lowering his voice. "Ethan was in here yesterday telling folks you've got cash stacked up in that shop, but you won't help him out. Said it's a shame. Family turning their backs like that." My grip tightened on the mug. Anger flared hot in my chest. He was spinning lies, making me the bad guy to save his own skin. I forced a laugh, told Pete it was bull, but the damage was done. By noon, 2 regulars canceled orders. Their voices clipped over the phone. Word was spreading, and Ethan was the one holding the megaphone. I drove home that night, knuckles white on the steering wheel. Ethan's always been the smooth talker, got out of speeding tickets, charmed teachers into extra credit. But this was different. He wasn't just dodging consequences, he was dragging me under to float himself. I kept replaying Mom's call, her plea echoing in my head, and Pete's words stung like salt in a cut. I've spent years proving I'm more than the shadow they cast me in, and here he was, turning my hard work into his sob story. Part of me wanted to call him, demand he say it straight. But I knew he'd just flash that grin and talk circles around me. Instead, I sat in my truck outside the shop, staring at the faded sign, Jack's Hardware, and felt something shift. This wasn't just about money anymore. Ethan wasn't going to stop, and I had a sinking feeling the family wouldn't either. They'd always rallied around him, but I never thought they'd come for what's mine. I was wrong, and it was about to get worse. A week after Ethan's visit, Dad called me. His voice was gruff, no small talk. "Get over here tonight, we need to talk." I knew it wasn't about borrowing a ladder. When I pulled up to their house, the driveway was packed. Mom's sedan, Claire's beat-up Chevy, even Uncle Ray's rusted pickup. My stomach sank. This wasn't a chat, it was an ambush. Inside, they were all waiting in the living room, perched on the faded plaid couch in mismatched chairs like some council of war. Ethan wasn't there, probably too busy polishing his next pitch. But his absence didn't ease the tension. Dad stood by the fireplace, arms crossed, and didn't waste time. "Ethan's in deep, Jack. We've been talking, and we need you to sell the shop. It's just a small thing. His career's bigger than that." His words hit like a punch to the ribs. My shop, my blood, my late nights, my everything, reduced to a small thing. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out at first, just a sharp breath. Mom jumped in, her hands twisting a dish towel like she always does when she's nervous. "You've always taken care of us, Jack. Ethan's lost right now, and this is what family does. We lift each other up." Her eyes were soft, pleading, but there was an edge I hadn't noticed before, like she'd already decided my answer. I found my voice. "That shop's not some piggy bank I can crack open. It's my life. Ethan's had his chances. Why is it on me to fix this?" Dad's jaw tightened. "Because he's got potential. You're steady, sure. But Ethan's the one who could really make something of himself." Steady, the word stung. 8 years of grinding, and I'm just the mule while Ethan's the racehorse. I shook my head. "It's not fair. I'm not selling." That's when Ethan's shadow crept in, without him even being there. Claire, my little sister, who I'd driven through blizzards for, piped up. "Jack, it's not like you're married to that place. You could start over." Her tone was casual, like she was suggesting I switch brands of coffee. I stared at her, waiting for a crack in her face to show she didn't mean it. But she just looked away. Uncle Ray nodded, grunting. "Family's got to stick together, kid. Ethan's the priority." Priority, then Mom again, softer but firmer. "Think of what he could do with a fresh start." I felt the walls closing in, their voices piling up like bricks. Ethan wasn't even here to face me, but he'd already won them over, same as always. I stood up, hands clenched. "So what? I'm supposed to torch my life because Ethan can't keep his promises? I've been there for all of you every damn time, and now you're telling me it's not enough?" Dad stepped closer, his voice low. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be. We're asking, not begging. Asking." Right. It felt more like a command, and the room was thick with it, expectation, judgment, and that old familiar tilt toward Ethan. I grabbed my jacket. "I'm not selling. That's my answer." Mom called after me. "Jack, please." But I didn't turn back. Driving home, my chest burned. Not just anger, but something heavier. They didn't see me as their son, their brother. They saw a tool, a means to prop up their golden boy. I thought I dodged the bullet by saying no, but I should have known they wouldn't let it go that easy. What came next wasn't a request. It was a reckoning, and it'd show me just how far they'd go to keep Ethan on his pedestal. 3 days after I walked out of Dad's house, my phone buzzed with a text from Claire. "Family meeting tonight, 7 p.m., be there." No please, no explanation, just an order. I almost ignored it, but something nagged at me. Maybe they'd come around, see Ethan's mess for what it was. I was wrong. When I stepped into the living room, it was like deja vu. Same faces, same setup, but the air felt different, thicker. Dad stood by the fireplace again. Mom sat twisting that damn dish towel. Claire avoided my eyes. Uncle Ray cracked his knuckles like he was prepping for a fight. Ethan still wasn't there, which should have tipped me off, but I was too busy bracing myself. They were all smiling, too wide, too polished, like they'd rehearsed it. Dad cleared his throat. "We've been talking, Jack. You won't sell the shop? Fine, but we can't let Ethan drown, so we're voting. You're either with us or you're not family anymore. Majority rules." My jaw dropped. A vote. Like I was some stranger they could kick to the curb. I laughed, short and bitter. "You're serious?" Mom nodded, her voice steady now. "It's the fairest way. We've got to protect what matters. Protect what matters." Ethan, not me. Dad raised his hand first, then Mom, then Uncle Ray. I turned to Claire, my last hope. She'd cried on my shoulder when her ex left her, slept on my couch when she couldn't pay rent. "Claire," I said, voice cracking. She looked at the floor, muttered, "Sorry, Jack," and raised her hand. 4-1. Dad crossed his arms. "That's it. You're out." The room spun, not just from the decision, but from them. 8 years of showing up, and they'd erased me with a show of hands. I stood there, heart pounding, and forced my voice calm. "Fine, let's vote on something else then." I reached into my jacket, pulled out the shop's lease, my name, only mine, and a letter I'd typed up after the last meeting, cutting all financial ties to them. No more loans, no more favors. "I vote I keep what's mine," I said, sliding the papers onto the coffee table. The smiles vanished. Dad's face went red. "What the hell is this?" he barked. Mom gasped. "Jack, you can't..." But I cut her off. "You started this game. I'm playing it." Uncle Ray lunged for the papers, but I snatched them back. Claire just stared, wide-eyed, like she'd finally realized what she'd done. Then the door swung open, and Ethan sauntered in, all swagger, tossing his keys on the sideboard. "What did I miss?" he said, grinning like he'd walked into a party. The room erupted. Dad yelled at me, "This isn't how family works!" Mom started crying, clutching that towel like a lifeline. Ethan's grin faltered as he clocked the papers, but he recovered fast, stepping toward me. "Come on, Jack, don't be dramatic." Dramatic, after they just voted me out of my own blood. I held up the lease. "This says I don't owe you a damn thing. You're not touching my shop." His eyes narrowed, but he didn't push. Yet. Dad slammed his fist on the mantel. "You're selfish, Jack. Ethan's fighting for his future." I met his glare. "And I'm fighting for mine." The betrayal sank in then, heavy and cold. They'd chosen their golden boy over me, not just with words, with a ritual that made it official. I grabbed my keys, the papers, and headed for the door. This wasn't over, not by a long shot, but I'd seen their true colors now, and they were uglier than I'd ever imagined. The day after they voted me out, I opened the shop like usual, but something felt off. The phone didn't ring. No one came in for nails or paint, not even Mrs. Carter, who's been buying her garden supplies from me for years. By noon, I got a call from Tom, my supplier. "Jack, you closing up or what? Folks are saying you're done." My gut twisted. "Who's saying that?" He hesitated. "Words around town. Ethan was at the bar last night telling everyone you'd agreed to sell and move on. Said it's a done deal." Rage burned through me. I hadn't agreed to anything, but Ethan was out there poisoning my business, turning my customers away with lies. I hung up, hands shaking, and checked my sales log. Orders canceled. No explanations. He wasn't just after my money. He was strangling my livelihood. I wanted to drive to his place and smash that smug grin off his face, but I knew he'd twisted into me being the bad guy. Then Claire showed up that afternoon, pale and fidgety, clutching her purse like it was a shield. "Jack, I need to tell you something," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "Ethan, he did something else." I braced myself. "Spit it out." She swallowed hard. "A month ago, he came to me, said he needed a loan for his startup." I didn't have cash, so he asked for your shop's info, said it'd help him pitch to investors. I didn't think much of it, but he forged your signature on a $20,000 loan app, used the shop as collateral. My knees buckled. I grabbed the counter to steady myself. Claire's eyes welled up. I found the papers in his car yesterday. He didn't send it yet, but if he had, you'd be on the hook. I'm so sorry. Sorry. But sorry didn't cut it. Ethan hadn't just lied to the town. He tried to steal my future right out from under me. If I hadn't checked my credit after the vote, I might have been blindsided by a bank notice any day. I couldn't take it anymore. I drove to Ethan's apartment. The forged papers CLA gave me crumpled in my fist. He answered the door in a bathrobe, sipping coffee like he didn't have a care in the world. "Jack, what's up, bro?" he said, all casual. I shoved the papers at him. You spread lies about my shop closing, and now you're forging my name. You're a damn thief." His grin didn't budge. "You're overreacting. The shop things just talk. People forget. And the loan? I was gonna tell you. Family shares the load, right? Shares the load, like I was his personal ATM. I stepped closer, voice low. "You don't get it, do you? This isn't sharing. It's you screwing me over because you can't stand failing alone." He shrugged, sipping his coffee. "You've got the shop, I've got nothing. Chill out." I walked away before I did something I'd regret, but the fury stayed simmering. Ethan wasn't sorry. He was entitled, always had been. The lies about my shop were bad enough, tanking my reputation overnight. But the forgery? That was a knife in the back, twisted deep. I called my bank, locked my credit, and spent hours on the phone with Tom, begging him to vouch for me with suppliers. It wasn't enough. Business was bleeding, and Ethan didn't care. He'd gambled with my life like it was pocket change. And the family's vote started to make sense. They'd picked him because he'd always been the one they'd been for, no matter who got crushed. I wasn't just fighting for my shop anymore. I was fighting to not drown in his wreckage. 2 days after finding Ethan's forged loan papers, CLA texted me again. "Meet me at the park, 3 p.m. I've got more." I almost didn't go. Her apologies were starting to feel hollow, but curiosity won out. She was waiting on a bench by the old swing set, her face drawn like she hadn't slept. No preamble, just a shaky breath. "Jack, it's worse than the loan. I've been digging." She pulled a folder from her bag, stuffed with bank statements and scribbled notes. "Ethan's been skimming Dad's retirement fund for years, thousands at a time. He'd blame it on bad investments whenever Dad asked. I found the transfers last month but didn't say anything, didn't want to believe it." I took the folder, flipping through pages of numbers that made my head spin. Dates lined up with Ethan's big ideas. The startup, a car flipping scheme, even some crypto nonsense. "How much?" I asked, voice tight. "Over $40,000, she said. "The shop was just his latest fix. He figured you'd cave like Dad always did." Shock hit me first, then disgust. He wasn't just a screw-up. He was a parasite, bleeding them dry while they cheered him on. CLA kept going, her words tumbling out. I found texts, too. He bragged to his buddies about suckering Jack into bailing him out. Said you'd fold because you're too soft. He's been laughing at you, at all of us. She slid her phone across the bench, and there it was. "Jack's a pushover. Shop's mine soon. Easy money." My hands shook as I read it. I'd spent my life in his shadow, fixing his messes, and he saw me as a mark, a joke. I looked at Claire. "Why now?" She bit her lip. "I voted against you, Jack. I was wrong. Seeing him trash you like that, it woke me up. He's been playing us since we were kids." Her eyes were red, but I didn't care about her tears anymore. The truth was a brick to the chest. Ethan's golden crown wasn't luck. It was a con. That Sunday, Mom called me to dinner, her voice brittle but insistent. I went, not for her, but because I wanted them all in one room. The table was set like nothing had happened. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, forced smiles. Dad carved the meat, Uncle Ray cracked a beer. CLA sat quiet, avoiding my gaze. Ethan was late, as usual. I waited until they were settled, forks clinking, then stood up. "I've got something to share," I said, dropping CLA's folder on the table. Pages spilled out. Bank records, Ethan's texts. He's been stealing from Dad's retirement for years. The shop was just his latest grab. You're not saving him. You're feeding a leech. Mom's fork froze midair. Dad's face went slack, then hard. What nonsense is this? He growled. I pointed to the text. Read it. He's laughing at us. Ethan walked in then, tie loose, grinning. Smells good in here. What's the occasion? He saw the folder and his grin slipped. What's that? Mom whispered. Jack says you took from us. He laughed, sharp and fake. He's lying, trying to turn you against me. Claire stood, voice trembling but firm. No, Ethan, he's not. I've got the messages. You bragged about it. The room split open. Dad snatched a statement, his hands shaking as he scanned it. Mom's eyes welled up, but not for me. For him. Uncle Ray muttered, Jesus. And Ethan's charm cracked. You're all overreacting, he snapped. But the evidence was a noose tightening around him. I didn't yell, just watched them see him for once. The golden boy wasn't shining anymore, and I wasn't done showing them what their vote had cost. The silence after Claire backed me up was suffocating. Ethan stood there cornered, his grin replaced by a snarl. Dad's eyes stayed glued to the bank statement, veins bulging in his neck. Mom clutched her napkin, tears streaking her face. Uncle Ray just stared at the table. I didn't let the moment settle. You voted me out to save him, I said, voice steady. But he's been robbing you blind. I'm done being your scapegoat. Dad slammed the paper down. Family doesn't do this, Jack. You don't air dirty laundry like some damn lawyer. I stepped forward. You made it a transaction when you voted me out like I was trash. I'm just showing you the receipts. Ethan lunged for the folder, shouting, He's twisting it. Uncle Ray grabbed his arm, pinning him back. Sit down, boy, he growled. And for once, Ethan shut up. I turned to Dad. He's got something on you, doesn't he? That's why you always bend. Dad's face flushed, but he didn't answer. Ethan smirked, like he still had a card to play. Tell him, I pressed. Ethan's eyes flicked to Dad, then back to me. Fine, he spat. Years ago, Dad got in deep with some bookies, gambling debts. I bailed him out, took the heat when the cops sniffed around. He owes me. Dad's head dropped, shame carving lines into his face. Mom gasped. Paul, is that true? He nodded, barely audible. I didn't want you to know. The room tilted. Ethan's leverage wasn't talent or charm. It was blackmail, holding Dad's secret like a leash. I looked at them all. Mom's denial, Claire's guilt, Uncle Ray's shock. You chose him because he's got you trapped, I said. But I'm not playing anymore. I pulled a folded paper from my pocket, a legal notice I'd had drawn up after the vote, barring them from my shop, my accounts, my life. I dropped it on the table. This ends it. No more favors. No more family. Ethan scoffed. You're bluffing. I met his stare. Try me. Dad stood, voice shaking. You'd cut us off over this? I nodded. You cut me off first. Ethan lunged again, this time breaking free, grabbing my shirt. You think you're better than us? He hissed. I shoved him off hard. Number, I just stopped believing your lies. Claire stepped between us, pleading. Jack, don't. But I held up a hand. I vote myself out of this mess, I said, echoing their own words back at them. The irony wasn't lost. Majority ruled, but I didn't need their tally anymore. I turned to Dad one last time. You let him use me to pay a debt you should have faced. That's on you. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. Mom sobbed, we're still family, but it sounded hollow. I grabbed my jacket and walked to the door. Their silence was louder than any argument. Ethan yelled after me, You'll regret this. I didn't look back. The fight was over, I'd laid it bare, and they couldn't unsee it. Whatever came next, I'd face it alone. But at least it'd be on my terms. I'm Jack again, standing in my shop a month after that last dinner, sweeping sawdust off the floor. Ethan bolted the next day. Word is he's in Cleveland, running some shady hustle under a new name. Dad's a shell now, pride gutted by the truth I forced him to face. Mom calls sometimes, leaving voicemails I don't answer. Soft pleas about healing, like echoes of a life I don't fit into anymore. Claire's different. She's suing Ethan for her share of the retirement mess, and I've been slipping her lawyer tips from my own records. The shop's still mine, though it's a fight. Ethan's lies about me closing scared off half my customers, but a few loyal ones, like old Pete from the diner, keep coming back. I'm rebuilding, one sale at a time, proving I don't need their approval to stand. Those extra stabs Ethan threw, the rumors, the forged loan, left marks deeper than I expected. I still wake up some nights, fists clenched, replaying how he smirked while sinking me. 8 years of loyalty, of being the one they leaned on, and it ended with a vote that didn't even count me. I mourned that, cried myself raw a few times if I'm honest, but it's fading. The shop's quiet now, no family dropping by to borrow or beg, and I found a strange peace in it. Claire's evidence saved me from the loan trap, and the legal notice I dropped that night held. None of them can touch what's mine. Ethan's threats didn't stick. He's got no leverage left. I heard the Sunday dinner stopped. Mom can't face the empty chairs, and Dad's too ashamed to host. Ethan's fallout hit fast, but I didn't walk away clean. Trust's a ghost now, haunting me when I think of how they chose him, even after everything. But I sleep better. No weight of their expectations dragging me down. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. You don't need their vote to save yourself from a sinking ship, just the guts to jump. I jumped, and I'm still here, sweeping my floor, building my life. It's enough.